bad stuff happens all the time. But if they just look inward and they remember the strength and mental fortitude, intestinal fortitude that it took to do what they did the first time.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. This is Eric LeClaire over at PushPress. We're continuing our In the Trenches series, and I got a chance to kind of close the gap with an old friend on this episode. And it's not just an old friend, but it's someone who we're absolutely cut from the same cloth. We travel in so many similar circles, and even though I've only got a chance to know him for the last roughly 5 years, Jake from Okie CrossFit, we have a military background together. We have a LURS background together. We traveled through USA Weightlifting and USA Track and Field together. We've traveled through CrossFit and CrossFit ownership as a gym owner together. We've even traveled out in our extenuating, like continuing education circles through the OPEX culture. And fast forward all the way to 2020, Jake, you're the first person from PushPress that I've had on board. You're an official member of the team. Welcome to In the Trenches, man. I'm so excited to have you on today.
It's really good to be here. I mean, you didn't even tell me you were going to say all that, but like we are cut of the same cloth. Like, it's like, oh, check. It's like, how were we never stationed together? And it's only because it was probably separated by about 9 years. I'm much older than you.
Maybe by a little bit. I mean, here's the deal. I mean, we've got our gym here in Southern California. We've got your gym over in Tulsa, and we're marching to this tune. Very similar time frames, from when you got a chance to open, but your leadership role may have stemmed from time in the service, but you also had your hand in owning and operating restaurants.
Yeah.
Where would you like to jump in? I mean, the audience, I think, today is going to really enjoy seeing your development through all these different stages. So fill me in.
So, I mean, think about like a restaurant or a nightclub. They're really not any different than a CrossFit gym. If you're going to go to a happy hour or you're going to go have lunch or dinner at a restaurant, chances are you're going to drive by many different restaurants. And one of the great things about a CrossFit gym is like we're not all the same. Orange Theory Fitness, places like that, F45, they're all the same. So you're not going to drive by 3 F45s to go to your favorite F45. But like we have the autonomy as being CrossFit affiliates. We're not what are they? Franchises. We're not that. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to make it the best hour of their day. But if everybody's out there selling cheeseburgers or whatever that is that they're coming for, you want yours to be the best, or the one that they like most, because when they're going to think about going to have a cheeseburger, have a beer, whatever it is you're selling, burpees, they're going to come to you. So
right.
When I got into ownership, I pulled from, the military made me successful in restaurants, right? Because, hey, you're going to do this, you're going to do it right. You're not going to cut corners. You're going to make your damn bed every morning, right? If you do the little things, the big things happen.
Right.
So I leave the Army, go to college, get into restaurants. That works, right? So when I come into CrossFit, immediately I'm making these checklists. And I have these part-time coaches that are working for me. They're like, what's that? I'm like, well, that's going to tell you exactly when to take out the trash. That's going to tell you exactly when to check the toilet papers and the paper towels and all that stuff, when to sweep the place up in your off time. Because if I can make you a robot for all those little things, you can really focus on your craft of coaching and pouring into these people in these little 1 hour snapshots when they come in the gym.
Right.
And that every coach I've ever had work for me has loved that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, standardized operating procedures or SOPs give edge on the folks that just happen to luck their way into opening a gym or hope their way into opening up a gym. Now, did you open in Tulsa?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, did you open in Tulsa? Were you the first affiliate in the Tulsa area?
No. When I opened, there were already 13 affiliates.
Okay.
We opened as a gym in 2012. We affiliated in 2013. There were already 13. Tulsa's kind of like Phoenix and Scottsdale. There's a CrossFit affiliate almost on every corner, and there's a kettlebell or functional fitness, something, they're everywhere.
Right on. Okay. So you went into ownership. Did you end up buying the gym from someone else, or did you open brand new by yourself?
No. I saved a lot of money. That way I could do it the right way. And I opened, what I did was there's a place in Midtown Tulsa that's a batting cage and basketball facility for young kids. And I literally rented this turf area that was a hallway, and I rented 400 square feet that I would use. And literally people would walk through my classes if they were too lazy to walk around with their children to go to the different batting cages. There were some colorful conversations that happened during that. And I hope some of my old members listen to this, because they might even comment with some of those colorful words.
I'm sure.
Yeah, so, and our growth was really weird. So you had this 400 square feet, and then the place wanted me to stay with them. So they leased me 1,200 feet that actually had a door. So no more walking through. We get in there and we're like, oh man, we've tripled in size. We're never going to need more. About 4 months later, we needed more. So we knocked down this wall and we went to 2,400 square feet. We're like, we're never going to need more.
Yeah.
4 or 5 months later, we leased a space that was 6,500 square feet, 7 blocks from there. And we were like, we're never going to need more. A year to the day later, that was October 1st, 2014. October 1st, 2015, we blew out these walls and added another 9,500 square feet.
Huge.
So I opened April 1st, 2012 with 2 members, a buddy of mine's wife from high school,
right,
and her best friend. And within 3 years, we had passed 250 members, and eventually we were at the 450 member mark. 378 members were CrossFit, 72 were individual design clients. Nuts.
And that's amazing growth on the business. That's amazing growth on the clientele side. But at the exact same time, that's with all the other competition in Tulsa. What were you doing differently?
I was just being consistent, and also speaking to the market. One thing I've paid attention to is if you look at a successful gym, you'll see that their website, their social medias, everything is congruent. It's walking along the same path. They're not changing their logo every other week. They respond to people who are inquiring in their business. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I'm just shocked how many members that I've had over the last 8.5 years, when I ask them like, hey, why'd you join? They're like, you actually responded to me.
Yeah, you had my email, you got my text message or my phone call.
Yeah, it's crazy how people, we go through life. If you were to leave your house and call in a to-go order, try to call in a to-go order, and they didn't answer at that restaurant, you're not going to keep driving to that restaurant. You're going to say, well, I'm assuming they're closed or they're too busy or whatever. I'm going to order Chinese from somewhere else. The same happens with us as gym owners. If somebody inquires, you need to touch base with them.
Right. Agreed. And I mean, obviously I shouldn't say back then because it doesn't sound like it's so long ago, but 7 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, some of the technology that's around today wasn't as efficient as today it's more efficient than it was 8 years ago. So You had a really deep connection with those that were calling, visiting, dropping in, right?
Oh yeah. I immediately got a Google Voice number, so they at least didn't have my personal number, but I was manually texting and emailing people, and I was just waiting for that better day to where you could automate the first steps out of that. I was manually scheduling people. I literally was walking around with a planner where I'd say, Eric Leclerc is going to come try me out at 12 o'clock on Tuesday. And around 9 a.m. on Tuesday, I was texting you like, here's our address. We can't wait to meet you. But like it worked. It filled the gym.
Yeah. I mean, it's mind blowing to me that there are gym owners that still don't understand that the personal touch, the reminder, the phone call, the text message, even the video message, those are excellent tools to drive individuals into the front door and almost make the connection before you come in. That way I know who I'm looking for.
Yeah. And every once in a while I hear owners like, oh, that's cheesy. Like, well, the car lot that if you go look at a new Chevy Suburban or Tesla, for that cool or whatever it is, they are using the same stuff. You're interested in this? let me talk to you. Would you like to come test drive it? Like, we test drive gyms, we test drive cars. I guess we don't test drive food, but when you go to Panda Express, they'll let you try some food over the counter. I mean, we're in a society that really allows you, like, hey, you're interested in my services? Let me let you see those before you commit to buy. And let me reach out to you and communicate to you during that process.
Speaking of those services and like how you implemented systems in your gym, I mean, clearly, objectively, the gym was successful in growth, obviously successful in retention and driving churn down. If you were to look back on those earlier years and think to yourself who you looked up to as mentors, who you looked up to as subject matter experts, does anybody stand out that kind of provided an edge for you, whether you had to pay for the service or not? Anybody stand out to you?
So I'm kind of different. Like, I know Dan through PushPress because I reached out to Dan because he was a Mad Lab gym at the time. I've done them all. I've done Two Brain, I've done Mad Lab, and they're all great and they all suck. And I say that tongue planted firmly in cheek because what I did was I have my non-negotiables, and I don't like it when business mentors are like, you're going to bring somebody in like this and blah, 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 and otherwise you're not going to be successful. My full-time coaches, they make a full-time wage and they're proud of the money they make, and they get to wear basically underwear while they work 25 to 28 hours a week. They're wearing Lululemon shorts and a tank top. So what I did was I took little things, and I wasn't shy. I paid money for a gym launch. I paid money for Two Brain Business. I paid money for Mad Lab, twice with Mad Lab, because they kind of changed things, and I wanted to get in and see what they had. And then all I did was I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it. I'm not going to see another shiny object and run to it. I'm going to lean into this until it quits bearing me fruit. And then I'm going to say, well, okay, what of this needs to go? And I'm not going to guess. I'm going to go out here to these experts and so-called whatever and listen to what they have to say, because the offers have changed. I used to be part of the New You Challenge. You know how many people copied that? And that really worked. And it just got watered down. It expired. Think of CrossFit. CrossFit is a comet. I want that comet to burn brighter and longer. I don't think group fitness is going anywhere. But the way we bring people in, like I did the Mad Lab, doing a certain number of privates before you got to class. I did weird different onboardings. I've done no sweat intros. I've done free classes. I've done free weeks. They've all worked and they've all been bust. But I've learned how to change things. There's different times of year to do things. And I've also learned, look at data. It's funny. There's the F your feelings. Like, seriously, there have been times I'm like, this isn't working. But if I go look at my data, like, okay, I'm collecting leads at this, I have this show up rate, and I convert closes at this rate. I may not like it, but it is fueling my growth.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? The people like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody likes it, or else my income wouldn't be skyrocketing.
Right. So, and that makes total sense.
Yeah.
You were humble enough to take and become the student, bring back what worked, and then piece together what worked in your city. Did you get any resistance or any kind of like pushback from your coaching staff, or were they all on board with how you ran the ship?
So I learned early. I learned early in the Army, when you're put in a position of authority, that sometimes you take it and you run a little bit and then you're like, oh shit, I wasn't communicating well enough. Same thing happened to me when I was put in authority in restaurants. You're like, dang it, I got to communicate this. Same thing happened when I got into ownership. I got to where, okay, we're going to run with it. And I was like, wait a second, my soldiers don't know what they need to do. And too often in life, you see it in the affiliate groups on Facebook when people are upset. They're like, my coach is blah, blah, blah. No, my 8-year-old son, my 14-year-old daughter, if they ask me why, they're not saying F you, dad. They're saying they just literally want to know why, right? So I found when my coaches might have resistance, maybe they just didn't know what we were trying to do. They didn't know what the end game was. They didn't know it was going to make them more money and bonuses. So
Right.
now, and I've done this about the last 3 years, if we're going to roll something out, one, I want their input so they're bought in. I say, hey guys, we're going to be bringing people in on no sweat intros. What do you think the best no sweat intro is? Like, hey, we're going to do the in-body first. Well, hold on, we don't want to, you're not going to ask them to get barefoot, and you just kind of walk through it and you come up with this process, and the people that are involved in it feel like they helped you birth that. They can sell it all day because they're not selling. It's their baby.
Right. That makes total sense. Absolutely.
That and being consistent. Like too often, and I could drop the names of the people that you see, like, I'm doing this week, and I'm going to do this week. And like you're literally, your market doesn't know what you're doing because you're confusing them.
Right. Makes total sense. So the growth curve for you happened pretty quickly. And there seemed to be something looming in the distance that is the only thing we haven't shared. I cannot say that my gym was devastated by a tornado.
Yeah.
What happened?
So my wife and kids and I were down at our condos in Florida. This is August. We got back August 6th, 2017. It was a Saturday. About 2 o'clock or 12:15, 12:30, I can't even remember. I was asleep. I was just worn out from vacation. My landlord from Midtown calls me, and she's like, it's gone. It's gone. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, and she's like, the tornado, because she assumed I lived in Tulsa. I lived 40 minutes out of town at that time. She's like, the tornado hit the gym. It's all gone. You've got to get down here. So I fly out of bed, drive. Normally about a 40-minute drive, probably made it in about 25 minutes. And the craziest thing is I'm on the interstate approaching the gym, and I'm at about 4 miles out. And here in the Midwest, we have a wonderful burger chain that puts In-N-Out Burger to shame. It's called Whataburger.
Nope.
But Whataburger, they have these white and orange cups and these orange wax paper wrappers. They're blowing up the interstate at me as I'm driving, and that Whataburger is right next to the gym. I'm like, oh no. So I get to my exit and I can't go because there's down power lines. So cop's like, you're not going to be able to get there. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I took the next exit, drive through neighborhoods, probably do a bunch of things I shouldn't have done because like the grid was out. I could have been driving over stuff that would have killed me. But I got there, and they talk about the power of tornadoes being insane. We had 2 rowers go over 200 feet. One of them was wrapped around a tree. But then you have an assault bike that was sitting upright perfectly in the middle of the parking lot. And when I looked at the handles once the next day, they weren't scuffed at all. It didn't do cartwheels. It literally lifted and went down. So at that point in time, we had 378 Okie CrossFit members, 72 OPEX Tulsa individual design members. It was the most powerful day of my life because, I mean, so I'm there. We had this 9,500 square foot space was demolished, but the rig, this 80-foot long rig that was running down the center of the room was there. So it's dark. I have no light except for, because I was in such a hurry, didn't grab a flashlight. I have my iPhone. I'm trying to get stuff inside this one part of the gym that was unaffected, except like a bunch of water blown in it, but like the stuff was okay. So I get that in, and all I remember, my wife and I had just gotten tied into a church at that time. And I sent a picture of the outside of this, took a picture, and I sent it to the new pastor, who's one of my very good friends now. And I said, hey, you're not going to see the Crandalls at church today. And that was about 3 a.m. Of course, when he woke up, he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe all little. But I always get excited when I'm talking about all this. So I drive home because I'm just soaked through. We all know that soak through feeling. Like the first time I had that soak through feeling was basic training. You're like, I cannot get more wet. I'm just a wrinkle. And I get home and my wife Danielle's just like, what is it? And I get emotional about it now. I'm like, it's just gone. It's gone. And I sat down on the edge of the bed, and it's the only time I cried during the whole thing. And I cried because I felt like I lost a loved one. And, she just came and put her hand in the middle of my back, and she's like, we're not going to let this moment define you or us or anything. Like, let's go. Let's go. So when we got back there, I had made a post in our little Okie CrossFit members group saying, hey guys, the gym, posted a picture. I was like, the gym got torched. We're going to be up there. I said at 9:30, if anybody'd like to come up and help us kind of sort some things out. I gave the buffer at 9:30 because I didn't know what time I was going to make it back. So Danielle and I made it back about 8 o'clock, and the parking lot was already full of people. Oh gosh, I would cry. Like sweeping and moving things, putting stuff back and just doing their best. And the craziest thing was, we were this gym in the middle. We were across the street from a Sam's. It was unaffected, but this tornado was 1.25 miles long, and it was 3 blocks wide. If it would have been 4 blocks south, it would have killed thousands of people in the neighborhood. But not one person got hurt in this tornado, not one. Because it went through an industrial district at 12:15 in the morning on a Sunday. And our people were cleaning up the businesses around. It was nuts. It was nuts. In the weeks that came on after that, it was nuts. And it was when we decided to quit being an OPEX, because we didn't have one OPEX client show up to help. And almost all of our CrossFits did. And it just showed me what our tribe was. And those were some tough conversations. Huh?
Talk about a powerful realization in the moment.
Yeah, those were some tough conversations, and it cost me a friendship that I really valued. But I knew who had my back from that, and I still wear it, and I believe in the education. But that's another conversation for another day. But,
right.
But we literally were there all day cleaning, and in the weeks coming on, we didn't have power, so it was August, so we're doing parking lot workouts. So we got all the stuff that we'd ever need near the front of the gym, and the coaches, we just knew that, okay, we're doing box jumps and dumbbell snatches today with some runs sprinkled in. So let's get all that to the front, and we'll get it out there during the day. And we had already signed a lease for our second location at that point in time. And that became our only location. Within about a month or two, I was looking for the inventory and industrial spaces were gone.
A lot smaller.
Yeah. So all these companies that make widgets for oil and gas that made a lot more money than me were willing to pay a lot more for available space. So we shut that gym down, and only 62 people went with us to the new location, and 62 people didn't even pay my rent at the new location.
Wow.
And it was just time to lean into it again, right? It was nuts.
So that moment in your life, that moment that forced you to, as the leader not only of your family, but the leader of your business, the leader of your community, the leader of your coaching staff. You had to step up and say to yourself in that moment, I'm not going to quit. Resilience goes through the roof. You're able to rebuild, retool, repivot, whatever you want to say, however you want to figure that out. That's 2.5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
2.5 years later, COVID strikes, and you made a post not too long ago about your ability to thrive when the next type of disaster smashes you in the face.
Yeah.
So you outlasted the tornado. What happened during COVID?
So March 17th in Oklahoma, it was a Tuesday, and I think they picked that day because we have a lot of St. Patrick's Day stuff go on around here, and they were just like, oh my gosh, we don't know what's even going on, and we can't have people out there drinking and hugging each other in the streets. We were given a shutdown order, and we immediately we turned off everybody's billing, but for 3 weeks we did sidewalk workouts. So we would program at home stuff, but we would also do sidewalk workouts. We did a noon class and 2 at night. And people showed up, and you know me, I'm not one to shy away from calling out crap I don't agree with. You know, what's that old Simon Sinek? It's easier to show people what you stand for by telling them what you won't tolerate. You know, yep. You can make a short statement and they'll be like, "Oh, he stands for this," because all. So I made a post. There was a lot of people in that day on March 17th. You saw gym owners around here refusing to turn off people's memberships. Like, you saw people, like, my members were texting me like, "Oh, I just got a text from so-and-so that said their owner won't shut off their membership, but they're closed." Because I speak to my tribe. I made a post saying, "Hey, if you paid March 2nd, it's March 17th. Whenever we're able to reopen, I owe you 15 days of membership, and we'll cease billing till we can reopen." And then we immediately said, we'll loan out dumbbells, kettlebells. We'd loan out anything except for a rower, a bike, or barbells, because I'm not going to have you dropping my barbells on your concrete. Thanks. So it was nuts, and I got Facebook attacked by owners around the country. "How dare you do this? You know, blah blah blah." And I said, "Hey, I'm not telling you I have it all figured out, but I know how people are going to think about me in an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset when I'm allowed to reopen. So that's on you." And you know, hindsight being 2020, I bet they know where their members went afterwards, because they're in my gym, a lot of them.
Right.
And I didn't do that to steal members. I did it because it's the right thing. Like, hey, yeah, I'm shut down. Guess what? So's my buddy's restaurant. So, I mean, there's a million things. There were nurses laid off because in the preparation for COVID, they had to quit all the elective surgeries. Like, I wasn't the only person hurting. I wasn't going to make it about me. I've been through crap, and I wasn't going to let that define me either.
Right, dude, powerful. So, I mean, you went from March 17, closed down. When were you authorized to reopen, and what did that look like?
So, our governor, I want to say it was April 17th, said he was going to permit Tulsa or Oklahoma to open up May 1st. Our mayor said, "Not so fast. I may not be doing that." I literally was I'm that dress dude. We've been taping off in our gym for 8 years. You know, if those mats are 4x6, we got 2 and 2. We got 12 by 8, everybody. So I was taking pictures, filming things. I was going through, showing them how we always have sanitized things. And I said, "Hey, yeah, lots of these CrossFits, you'll get staph infection just walking by the front door, but that's not mine, and I'm opening." So it kind of became the standard, like to tape off your floors. And I heard one thing, the health department came by, and I said, "I'm not going to limit my class sizes either, because I have 7,500 square feet. I have 35 of these squares." So what we've done is they told us we couldn't do extra credit because they wanted everybody out within 50 minutes. Like, if it's not on the whiteboard, they're not doing it. Like, no accessory work. And that sucks, but guess what also doesn't suck? We're able to stay open. We don't have to limit classes because we never have 35 people in a class anyway, even though we have the space for them. We usually top out at 24 with 3 coaches in there. So my membership coordinator, he's basically our sanitation crew right now, helping because our members clean and he's cleaning during those busy hours. But we're glad it's cooled off because we were mopping between classes also. But, you know, Oklahoma's hot. July was rough. You know, you stand there and there'd just be sweat on the floor. And I'm like, I got to get that up once they're done. But, you know, the thing was how I spoke to the market during that time, we took off. It's funny how when Dan and Nick and I started talking about, like, they messaged me September 9th. Dan was like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm just doing it. I've always known how to do the Facebook stuff, but more importantly, I know how to speak to a market. And that's not just through paid ads. It's like, what's going on? Because people are they're going to share those, they're going to comment on them. But sometimes people are just like, I wonder what they're doing, you know, and they can read their story through pictures.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, what's valuable here, and I think one of the biggest takeaways is that your messaging is clear and consistent. I mean, all three C's: clarity, consistency. You're concise. There's no hiccups. There's no like non-uniform messaging. You did the right thing. So we say right place, right time, right uniform, right? You did it all. And fast forward months down the road, then you were able to reap the benefit. You made a post, I think, in one of the pages somewhere, that through your simple, basic group model, you doubled or tripled the membership because you were doing it right. You cared about the right individuals, and you thrived because of it. Is that true?
So almost true. So we are up right now 87% versus March 17th when we shut down our gross revenue.
Okay.
We were on target by November 1st, which would have been 6 months. We were going to double. But the week before the election, we lost 17 people just because, and I'm not going to get on the political stuff, but the news was god awful about you're going to die if you walk on your sidewalk. If you're near anybody, you're going to die, because it was an election cycle, right? So that was going to be my feather in the cap. Like, we did it, but whatever. I'm up 87%. I'll take that all day.
Right. Awesome. Outstanding. And that truly was a reflection of your order, your organization. We could say the orchestration. We remember all those from back in. But at the same time, you had some folks start to look over your shoulders and say, what are you doing? How are you doing it? Right. You said Dan and Nick had, started communicating to you. That had a chance to open a door. And today you and I stand side by side inside of a company that now helps gym owners.
Yeah.
It's our company, PushPress. I say our company that we joined last, right? So we're the last couple that came on board, the staff. Excellent staff. We got a combo of superior engineers, some tech guys that just love what they do. And the flip side, we've got former gym owners. We got a ton of veterans. We got individuals in there that really care about delivering an excellent service. We got a phenomenal customer service and a help staff. I mean, these guys are phenomenal.
Yeah.
You're on the PushPress team. You've done amazing front-end work with the gym. You've done amazing front-end work with your clients. What are you doing today with PushPress?
So let me tell you the PushPress story first. Like, I was an OG PushPress client. And even though I didn't chase shiny objects in like mentorship and stuff like that, or programs, I would listen to a mentor and they'd be like, you need to be with Zen Planner. And I wasn't even thinking like, oh, they're just going for affiliate fees. So I said goodbye to PushPress once. And then I came back to PushPress, and then a different mentor was like, oh, but if you go over here to this product, you can do that. So I went, and now that I've been back with PushPress 2 years, I'll never leave again. Like, again, it's because if we're talking about a software company that is trying to look out for people in the gym space, I don't care if you're jujitsu, yoga, whatever, we are gymming, right? To steal from Patty, gymming. That's what we're doing. We want people that know what does a gym owner need? They may not need all these other things over here that some programmers like, oh, we can do this. Like, we don't need that. And that's one thing I love about it. And I love that PushPress is not priced at a model to gouge people. Hell, they even went free. Like, I remember when I had my 2 members that I was with Watify when I first opened up. And I remember about 10 members in, they're like, don't worry, it's just gonna be $35 a month. And I'm thinking to myself, I was like, gosh, that's 4% of my revenue just for that, like all those little things. But I think like that because I've been in business. And I just love how PushPress, hey, let's go back to James Fitzgerald. If it doesn't work for the owner, the coach, and the client, if it doesn't work for PushPress, the gym owner, and the gym member, if one of those people loses,
Out.
They're done on it. And I love that. And it's the people. Hey, they vetted me. They've known me. I've known you in person. I've known Jim Kroll in person. I've known Nick in person. I've known John Batdorf. I've known TJ in person. I've known all these other people virtually for years. And yeah, they were worried that I just come in like a bull in a china shop and badmouth this and badmouth that. But they also wanted to know their one thing wasn't that. Was I here to help other gym owners?
Right.
And it was the stories of telling, this gym in Indianapolis, this gym over here, this gym over here. I've been texted, anytime they text me, I'm quick to respond with, have you thought of this? Or gyms in Tulsa, because I have an abundance mindset. There's 500,000 people in Tulsa Metro, and there's like 18 affiliates. We need like 40 more, before I have any scarcity in my mind. We need 100 more yoga studios. We need all that because we need everybody getting fit, right? And I want them to be successful because oddly enough, my success can hinge on another gym's success. Because if they put out a bad product or they fail, they can't help but think that Okie CrossFit's failing too, and that's not the case.
Right, correct. Yeah, it affects everybody. One poor experience can sour an entire family or an entire from even just, we recognize that. We've heard it. We've read it. We see that the word CrossFit or the word weightlifting or the word competition has soured so many people when you're like, hey, that's not me. That's not what goes on.
Yeah.
Man, I love it. So you get a chance to be formally brought on board to the team. You've had a chance to explore and get to know a bunch of folks. So maybe walk some folks through, or those that are listening from a gym owner standpoint, what does your day look like? How are you divvying up your duties and responsibilities between the gym and now also working with PushPress?
So I am a firm believer that I am a business owner, not an employee of my business. I have only coached classes over the last 5 years when somebody was getting married, out of town, sick, or every once in a while I'll host like a snatch clinic or clean and jerk clinic for an hour and a half, 2 hours on a Saturday. I run my business. I run the Facebook marketing, and then I run what is the Grow program. I run the lead nurture and stuff like that. Other than that, my coaches rarely see me. I go in and hey guys, how's it going? Go and cut checks for whatever they need. We communicate well, and it's truly a business.
Outstanding.
And scalable.
Right. That's huge. I probably talk to about 10 to 15 gym owners a week, and maybe one that we talk to. So what is that? 4 gym owners a month out of 40 or 50 are in your position.
Yeah. But I want them all to be.
Right.
And part of that is getting them to trust other people. That's the first thing, right? I'm going to trust somebody to do that. I'm going to trust that they're going to mess up, and I'm not going to freak out or hound them for it. My coaches will tell you I raise my voice every once in a while, but guess what I don't do? After we've had the talk, I don't harp on it. I don't bring that crap up later. We've already learned from it. There's no reason for me to beat them over the head. But so my day-to-day, I'll tell you one thing, my wife is glad that I'm busy again. So I can quit bothering her all day via text and all that stuff. But my day-to-day, so let's circle back. Dan messages Nick and I on September 9th, what are you doing? And it just starts this conversation. And in that conversation, I knew that I could probably do what I'm doing on my own, but I couldn't help as many people. And I was going to have to push harder to get people to possibly take me up on it. Or I could help PushPress help people and get more gyms involved. And that's what we're doing. And we are bringing on gyms so that we can get them into this nurture program that takes people out of these different buckets and it communicates to them the proper way. So what does my day look like now? I'm just constantly refining how we talk to leads, how we talk to people that have booked appointment, how we talk to people who've missed an appointment, how we talk to people. I hate it when people are like, oh, they got a 100-day journey. We need people getting loved on for 5 years. Like I have members at my gym that have been with me longer than 7 years, and they've only been there that long by the grace of God, because I haven't been nurturing them properly for 7 years. I look back and I'm like, man, I'd probably have 40 of those people if we were doing this the right way. So,
oh man, I watch that work you're doing, and I think to myself the exact same thing. You know, I used to say, man, we got XYZ. I mean, you figure we opened in 2006, right? 14 years of clients. There might be 40 that have been there 14 years, but I bet you there's 400 that I missed.
Right.
Easily missed. That could have been there for 14 years. Blows my mind. Blows. Where were you 14 years ago? Like, that's what I think gym owners will get really excited about, is connecting with you, recognizing that you got that 14-year journey coming up. You've got this capacity to build something that will layer in excellent communication, excellent touch points for a long time, not just 90 days.
Yeah, it's like when I was in the restaurant business, if I was ever struggling, you know, people always think, oh man, my business is struggling, I need to sell. Well, nobody wants to buy your piece of crap business, right? So what you do is you start leaning into it to get it ready to sell. And then you're like, I don't need to sell this. This thing's a cash cow. Like,
yep. I
try to tell people all the time, get your business where you'd sell it so you never would.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, or you would, and it would be that golden parachute. You know what I'm saying? So that's like that communication. So it's one, getting enough people to buy, and then convincing enough people to stay. You know, you want to be so packed that it only makes sense to raise your rates by $25 on every new person that walks in, because you don't need them.
Right. And it makes perfect sense. Absolutely. And so if there are struggling gym owners, or if there are individuals who are struggling with their lead nurture, or they don't even understand what that means, give a blurb real quick on what your owners do today.
10,000 foot view, excuse me. Most gym owners think they have a lead, a member, and a former member. That member and former member are right, but your leads are different. Like, Eric books an appointment at Okie CrossFit. I need to be nurturing you, telling you what to expect, but also reminding you about your appointment. But what happens if Eric misses his appointment? Because we do get busy, right? Life happens. A lot of the times, most gym owners, Eric's supposed to be here at noon on Thursday. Noon comes and goes. Most gym owners don't do anything. Some
they just shrug and move on.
They're just like, yeah, well, I got an appointment tomorrow at noon, and that's Steve. But some gym owners will manually text you and email you like, hey, we missed you today. Would you think about coming in? You know, nobody is trying to get you back in multiple times, because, again, we get busy. We got to mop something. A light went out. A tornado hit your gym. Like, you don't know what happened. Right. So, but if you can set it to where Eric is getting automated stuff where, hey, you know, where it feels like Jake is texting you, hey, let me know if you'd like to reschedule. And you respond, yeah, dude, I'm so sorry about that. And then it's like, hey, hit that link. Like, so it's not artificial intelligence doing everything for you, but it's communicating to people nonstop, so that when they communicate back to you, you're more than happy to maybe spend 8 minutes a day total texting somebody back. Because I always tell people, if you spend more than 10 minutes a day in that, you're busting. People are busting through your doors. Like, if you're doing that, you're grateful to do that, and you want to do it for 20 minutes a day. But that's that. So you have this. Your leads are an appointment booked, an appointment missed. What happens if an appointment shows and doesn't buy? That's a whole nother opportunity. Maybe Eric forgot to ask a question, and you need to say, hey, did you have any other questions? Like, what would it take you to get you in here? Because Eric might be like, hey, I forgot to ask, do you have veterans discounts? Sure do. Boom. Otherwise, Eric's just gone because CrossFit's too expensive. Or Eric forgot to ask, like, I got that knee thing and it's real. I forgot to bring it up. You know, blah, blah, blah. Hey, dude, I'm 50% disabled from the Army, you know, blah, 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 blah. We scale and we modify everything. It gives you more opportunities to
communicate.
You're not dragging people across the finish line. You're walking them there, and the system's doing 90% of the traveling for you.
Outstanding. Yeah. So I've already heard solutions to many problems that gym owners are faced with. And from an ownership standpoint, oftentimes, not oftentimes, almost all the time, you're exactly right. You got 27 items to do on your list today. And actually, when someone doesn't show, you're like, rad, I'm going to get these other 6 things done because I'm sitting here waiting anyway. And I forgot tomorrow to follow up with the guy that didn't show up. So that's huge from a solution standpoint. And you're solving the problem of attracting and getting folks in the door, which then grows the company anyway.
Right.
I love it.
It pays for more equipment. It pays for more coaches. It does all sorts of things. And the reason that I really love doing this with PushPress is it's not expensive. Like, that was the whole deal. Like, what do you want this to cost? And I said, it has to cost way less than what one new customer brings to the business. Like,
correct.
There's such a money grab out there when these companies are talking to you and like, oh yeah, it's $1,000 setup fee, and then we're going to charge you $300 a month. And you're like, setup fee for what? You didn't personalize any of my communication. You won't let me personalize it like that. I have to speak to the market the way you do. And you're from Canada and your English sounds funny. Like, right. People in Oklahoma know that that's not an Okie doing that. Right.
Totally.
So we don't speak the Queen's English down here or whatever it is. Or you're just like, you're not even onboarded. You're like, hey, here's your email and your login. And that's the way, we're good to go. Just go ahead and turn on the system. And you're like, well, what else? Like, instead of us showing, what we're doing is showing people behind the curtain, like, hey, we don't need to get too fancy. What's your offer? You're a no sweat intro? Okay, we're going to get more people to book no sweat intros with you. If they miss their appointment, we're going to just hound them into coming to check out your gym. And when they sign up, we're going to love on them so they never leave. Because what's the biggest problem as a gym owner? Getting people past 90 days. 3 months here, they're here forever. So let me get you more conversions at the front, and let's get people way past that 100-day mark.
Man, I love it. Again, like I oftentimes I talk to folks that have been in the game as long as you and I have been, and I'm like, man, I just wish this was here 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It would have made things so much easier.
Yeah.
So for those individuals that are listening today, because we have gym owners that listen, we have coaches, we have trainers, we have folks that are not even in the CrossFit space. Is this a service for yoga studios? Is this a service for martial art facilities? Is this a service even for personal trainers onboarding new clients?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
These journeys can be made for anything. We have aerial yoga place in Australia. We have MMA gyms. We have karate gyms, regular yoga. It could be personal training. This is the beauty of this is we find out what your offer is and what your schedule is, and we set it up, and then we show it to you, and you're not done. We're like, okay, I need you to read this messaging. I need you to look at these emails. I need you to look at these texts. Let's make these your own. Here's how you do that. If you need help with it, we're still there to help you. And we're getting all that stuff done. And in the meantime, we're educating them like how to use the dashboard. Because again, you want people getting spoken to the correct way. If they missed an appointment, you need them in the missed appointment bucket so they're getting that nurture. And literally, the thing I hear all the time is, I literally spend 30 seconds a day marking my appointments properly, and then maybe 8 minutes a day responding to text. Do it when you're sitting on the toilet. It's easy. It's literally a no-brainer.
I love it. I'm ecstatic to watch this grow. I'm ecstatic the growth it has in the potential for gym owners to accelerate that front end, both lead capture and lead nurture. I think that's a huge missing component for I'd say 85% of the gyms that we talk to.
Yeah. It's literally, you got to fire yourself. Like, think about that. The best, I went to college for entrepreneurship, and like that didn't make sense to me until I was running a nightclub and I was doing everything because the bathrooms were never done the right way, because I wanted the liquor to be like this and somebody else wanted the vodka on the right side. So like I was just that OCD dress, I would just freak out about it. And it burned me out, but it also was like, let people have their consistencies too. And also don't do everything. Find that one thing. And for most gym owners, it should be the member experience. Run that, run your coaches. I don't care if you have 40 members and you're the only coach, or you're 400 members and you have 10 coaches. Do that and let somebody else be your scheduler.
Right.
For less than $100 a month. Let somebody do that. You're not going to go broke on that. It's only going to make you money.
Of course. No, it completely buys you back your time.
Yeah.
Get that. So for the audience today that's listening in, if there are individuals out there, I mean, here we are, some states are hitting second shutdowns, third shutdowns, this roller coaster of whatever, and they're getting burnt out. Maybe they're unmotivated, they're tired, they're exhausted, they're emotionally spent. Is there anything you could say today, or any piece of wisdom? I mean, we look back and say hindsight's 2020, lessons learned. I mean, you and I understand how to AAR anything. Yeah. If the audience today is a gym owner struggling or frustrated, what would you say? Any bit of illumination?
So they've already proven that they're stronger than mentally than most people. They've taken a chance. They've had the abundance mindset to actually take a leap of faith to start something. Like, they've already just squashed so much doubt so many times before. And this sucks. Tornado hit me, sucked. Like, bad stuff happens all the time. But if they just look inward and they remember the strength and mental fortitude, intestinal fortitude that it took to do what they did the first time. I don't care if they've only been in the gym business since February and then COVID happened. They remember the strength that it took to start in February, right? And they need to look at that, and they just need to be strong in front of their people. I'm not saying false bravado. If they look at their people and say, we are resilient, we do burpees, or if you're yoga, you know, whatever the hardest thing is in that, like, we do things, and we do things to better ourselves, and we will come out of this fire sharper and more refined. And they'll know if you're blowing smoke. But if you just look at them, I love to spend time doing live videos in our private Facebook group, because I'm just telling people we're going to be okay. It may look different. It may feel like a different okay. Sometimes it might feel like we're running from a saber-toothed tiger. Sometimes it might feel like we're chasing food, but we're gonna be okay. And they just want to know that. And all these people, if they own a gym, I don't care if they have 4 members or 4,000, they know what it takes, and they have the strength to do it. They just need to be reminded that they have it.
Outstanding. That's a refreshing way to end the week out, brother. Yeah. So if gym owners are interested in kind of knocking on your door, looking behind the curtain, I know that we're in a beta stage for Grow, but how do they find you? What's the easiest way to get a hold of you?
So I'm not our sales department, but I would say email me, jake@pushpress.com. No dashes or anything like that. And I'll get them in the right direction. I'll even probably demo it for them to show them we're young enough right now. We're not overrun so much that I can't take the time to do that. It's funny. Everybody I've shown it to has taken us up on it. I'm growing a long tail of people ready to come into this thing, but I want that tail I want it to be so long that I have to work day and night to get people, because that's what motivates me. I'm that guy. I like to be painted into a corner, and how in the hell are you going to get out of this room? So if they reach out to me, if I'm too busy, I'll get them in the right spot. But we're doing amazing things with putting the gym owners first. And that's why I don't have a job at PushPress. I get to just have fun at PushPress.
I love it, man. Well, I'm definitely appreciative that the team reached out. I'm super happy that we get a chance to be partners and reach other's shoulders each week and be in meetings together. So, man, I'm glad you're around. I really am.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, brother. I'll see you.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, make sure you like our channel, subscribe, and check out our other videos right here.